Welcome everybody to a special episode of Into the Stratusphere. I'm your girl, Cindy G here, your Impact Wrestling correspondent for the Bullet Cast, y'all. So today's special episode, we're doing episode 23 of the Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill pay-per-view that just took place like less than 24 hours ago, you guys. So it's been a crazy day, but hey, I'm not alone here. As I promised on the last episode, I promised you guys to bring in a very special guest, and it's happening, y'all. That is right. So you may remember him from a very impactful video that happened 3 weeks ago after the AEW Dynamite episode of the Brody Lee's tribute. Well, you guys, I'm happy to introduce to a friend of mine. He is Teddi Turnbuckle's roommate / the creator of Teddi Turnbuckle, of course. Say hello to Steve the Fan. Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Oh, I am just pumped and excited to talk about Hard to Kill because it was a great pay-per-view. And, you know, if you go back to Bound for Glory and watch Bound for Glory and then watch Hard to Kill, it's night and day. It's night and day production value.
I know, right? Yeah, because like Bound for Glory was kind of like a sight for sore eye pay-per-view. Like, yeah, I remember giving a grade like a solid C because like of some of the matches have been questionable and production error. But hey, we're now in 2021. Yeah, and we actually improved so much.
It is true. It's honest to God. It's like, you know, sometimes the theory is you put makeup on a pig, it's still a pig. Exactly. This time around, that makeup made that pig look beautiful because we had production value. You had fake crowds. You had a new commentary team. And I know Josh Matthews got promoted.
Yeah, promoted to senior producer.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if that actually means what it says. I think it really says, hey, thanks for working for us all these years, but we have to move on. Like, we need to get you somewhere else in the building. And then we're going to bring in new team, D'Lo Brown, Matt Striker. They did a great job.
I know, right? Like watching this whole show itself, I was so tuned in instead of like being distracted, like, you know, with those like weird comic like remarks from Josh Matthews. And it's like, okay, how does it not make sense? But like the way that like how they are talking about it in very thorough detail, I really enjoyed it a lot. It handled it very professionally well, too.
Yes, Matt Striker has always been a professional. If you watch Lucha Underground, if you watch him on SmackDown for a long time, the guy knows what he's talking about. And he can do what Michael Cole does and like juggle 1,000 balls and talk about, we're promoting Snickers and we're also talking about this match. What's happening later? What happened 5 minutes ago? Matt Striker can do all that. And I don't know what they've been doing, why they've been hiding him. It's very strange, but I'm happy Madison Rain retired, which is, you know, a sad moment because I've been watching Impact since day one. She showed up a few years later, and she had the beautiful people. And from there on, she's just been up and down, up and down. She was even in the Mae Young Classic in the WWE, where I thought she's going to join the WWE. She didn't. And you know what? Lucky to Josh Matthews because he's married to her.
And at one point, she was in Ring of Honor as well before coming back to Impact Wrestling.
Yeah. So, you know, a world traveler. I'm not sure really what's next for her. And, you know, I to be honest, she can go and do anything she wants. And she probably will be a successful person at it because she seems to know what she's doing and she's doing a good job.
Exactly. And we're wishing Madison Rain nothing but the best of luck and wishing her like happy retire.
Yeah, go somewhere on a beach and drink some lovely alcoholic beverage out of a coconut. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, in the comfort of the home because we're still in the pandemic. But
well, you can get sand and put it in your living room floor and just imagine. Close your eyes and imagine you're at the beach.
Exactly. So before we're going to get into all this going on with the pay-per-view, so we're definitely going to be doing a quick plug. So Steve, where can people find Teddi?
Well, Teddi Turnbuckle. He is a puppet. I don't know. So if you've never heard of him, and maybe you haven't, this is him. He's right here. So I do the voice for him. So for instance, when I'm shooting a video, be like, "What's going on, everybody? It's me, Teddi Turnbuckle." You can follow me on Twitter at Teddi Turnbuckle. That's Teddy with an I because some asshole stole my Teddy with a Y. I hate you. I hate you, Teddy with a Y, Turnbuckle. And he makes reaction videos for Ross, Impact, NXT, AEW. Like Wednesday's a heavy night. Thursday is like NXT UK, where there's just very generic videos coming out, and SmackDown. And of course, pay-per-views, predictions. And I have you on my YouTube channel constantly talking about Impact. Pretty much when I say, hey, can I get a reaction video from you? And you're like, I am there. So I'm here for you. You are here for me. We're all here for entertainment and wrestling.
That's amen to that.
Yeah,
that's right. And as I mentioned, you guys, I've been appearing on the YouTube channel in the past, doing like multiple reaction videos, like when it's Impact Wrestling, sometime AEW. At one point, yes, I did the prediction for WWE only for one match, but hey, you know, it is what it is. It's the past. But anyway, so without further ado, Steve, I'm going to ask you three quick rapid fire questions, so that way the Bulletcast can get to know you.
Yes.
You can answer it like short but sweet. So, number one, favorite wrestler of all time?
It was Shawn Michaels, and then he wrestled in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Still Shawn Michaels, but it's still Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. Well, you're going to be in because, like, you know, my boss, my friend, the head honcho of the Bulletcast, Philip, he's actually a huge HBK fan, of course.
I used to, when I was a kid, this is a personal story, I used to take jackets, zip them up my legs, tie them to me so I could unzip them and strip in my house. I was like a 10-year-old, like Shawn Michaels. So I liked Shawn Michaels a lot.
Of course. And also, favorite match of all time, number two.
Oh, see, that's another. Sadly, it's going to be probably another Shawn Michaels thing. It's Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. I think I could wrestle that entire match, choreograph it out. But before that, it was probably Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13.
Awesome. And last but not least, this is kind of like a non-wrestling related question. So I have a gimmick where like I posted constant selfie of my beverages only on Instagram story. I know Twitter, they have their fleet. So I'm trying to work on the gimmick. So Steve, what's your favorite kind of drink?
Ooh, I'm a Monster Energy drinker. I'm obsessed. My heart's probably going to jump out of its chest, but I drink Monsters like an unhealthy amount, probably.
Understandable. I know everybody has like, you know, their different beverages just to keep it with energy of it too. And especially the fact that like, you know, busy with our lives and all that too. So yeah, I totally get it. All righty. So with that being said, we already finally get to know you, Steve, the fan. And now we're going to kick things off with the recap for Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill that took place on Saturday, January 16th, you guys. And so we started off with the pre-show match, which is Josh Alexander versus Brian Myers. And overall, this match itself, it was pretty much of your typical like matchup that's like threw in the last minute from the last 2 weeks ago on the episode of Impact Wrestling. But the only thing that, because like they introduced to like the fake crowd noise, it actually, I kind of noticed it helps Josh and Brian be more motivated too. It kind of like draws in like, you know, their in-ring ability as well. And I want to give mad respect to Brian Myers to where that he was wearing the armband of the late Brody Lee. Of course, he unfortunately passed away on the day after Christmas, of course, but it was a nice tribute. And overall, it was a pretty much a solid match itself. And at the end, of course, Brian Myers pulled down Josh Alexander's headgear, and of course, Josh took it off. And then he did the big clothesline, and thus Brian Myers pinned Josh Alexander and picked up the victory. So, Steve, what are your thoughts of this pre-show of this match?
Listen, the North, Josh Alexander, one half of, top 10 tag team, PWI. Now, since Ethan Page is either gone or has already left Impact Wrestling, Josh Alexander ends up on the pre-show and then loses. To me, it's like you built someone up for a year. Please don't undo what you did in 3 weeks. You have to keep Josh Alexander going because you already built momentum. So build off it. But if you don't build off it, then really what was the point of the North? Did you not have any more tag teams for them to fight? Is that why they were champions for so long? I didn't like that part of it. But the match itself, sure, whatever. It was good. But that Josh Alexander thing, man, it's pissed me off.
Yeah, like I was completely shocked that like he lost in a clean finish from Brian Myers. Like I was expecting him to pick up the victory so that way he can have like a better push in Impact Wrestling. And now since that the North is done, he's on his own. We're not sure what's going to be happening next with Josh. Like I just hope he's not going to be in like the lower card tier. Like, you know, with the rest of the guys like Hernandez, Torino Scum, to even like some of the cast member of Russell House that was like Johnny Swinger. Yeah. Yes. So I just hope that there's going to be find something for him to do. And then hopefully like down the line, he could chase for one of the titles.
I honest to God think he has a gimmick that it's like a Brock Lesnar type of gimmick, a Kurt Angle, where he's like a collegiate wrestler. Okay, book him like that. Have him out wrestle everybody. But it does not look like that at all. It looks like he's the Marty Jannetty of this group. And I'm sorry, but it looks like it's over for Josh Alexander. Unless he joins Sami Callihan and Sami Callihan can get his old stable back, maybe. I don't know. But
yeah,
it's not looking good for Josh Alexander.
Yeah, something along the line. But all in all, we'll see what's going on. But as for Brian Myers, well, we're going to get into like a very surprise moment of it too, like talking about like the theories of it too. Alrighty, so we're going to kick things off with the main card of the match. So for your opening of the match, you have it's a team of the reuniting Decay, Rosemary, and Crazy Steve versus the team of Tenille Dashwood and Kayla with the K, of course.
PP.
So, I'm so happy the Decay has their Titantron back, and oh man, I was so happy altogether. And so of course the match itself, it was kind of like very questionable, but I'll lead it up to you, Steve. What are your thoughts of this match?
Oh, well, I am a gigantic fan of Decay, so just having them back together, like last week on Impact, I think, if I know what I've read, Taya Valkyrie, she's also done with Impact. I'm not sure. This is what I read, rumors. I don't know. But so it clearly last week on Impact when Crazy Steve joined up with Rosemary again, I was like, oh my God, don't you tease me like that. And then they suddenly have them together again. And then out of nowhere, you sent it to me. It was like a direct message. You're like, did you see this? And I'm like, oh my God, like Rosemary and Crazy Steve are back together. I like the match. Whatever. I love Dashwood. Like she could do no wrong. She could do anything, and I'd be like, you know what? Thumbs up to you. But Rosemary, I feel like she's been suffering for the past year. Like this weird combo of her and Valkyrie. To me, it made sense in like a story, but then we had Wrestle House and you had COVID and a pandemic. I get that part, but if you go back a year before all this, completely different character. Did crazy amount of things. It's like a superhero fighting in the undead realm, and all these other crazy characters were there. And then out of nowhere, she's like, I'm going to marry Johnny Bravo and hang out with Valkyrie, one of my enemies.
Yeah, it's kind of like seeing like, the whole charactership of Rosemary, because like I know that she was like kind of like losing to her edge of like, the way that she's portraying her gimmick. And of course, like, what's going on with like the whole trial of like Who Shot Bravo? They show her like her true color of it all together.
Yeah.
But then having her reunited with Crazy Steve, because I know Crazy Steve was also lost in a shuffle, but he did an impressive job at the Super X Cup at Genesis. So I'm glad that both of them are finally reunited, and they actually did an impressive job in this matchup as well. And I must say about like the teamwork with Tenille Dashwood and Kayla with the K, phenomenal job, especially the part where Tenille and Kayla were up on the ring post at the same time. Don't know what's going on, but then Caleb did the reverse 450 splash to Crazy Steve while Tenille was taking a picture. I think it's kind of like a favor, like, like picture for picture, like when it comes to like photography shot. It's weird because Tenille Dashwood is a influencer while she is a world traveler as well. And what is so impressive with this match is intergender match moment, the face off between Kayla with the K and Rosemary. I got so tuned in. to this that Caleb with the K, super kicked Rosemary. And I was like, what the hell is going on? It's so crazy.
So some people are very against intergender wrestling. I don't understand why. Like, China was doing it 20 years ago. So why is now a problem? Because there's some weird like feeling about it. I thought it was awesome having interaction between male and female. Like, what's Rosemary gonna cower because oh my god, it's a man? Like, Rosemary's a badass.
Exactly. And especially the part where Crazy Steve did actually spit green mist to Neil Dashwood after the referee was distracted from the situation from that got to be hairspray that Tennille kind of sneakily threw it, of course. And then more intergender action. And that's where Rosemary did spit the green mist to kill it with the K. And thus, Crazy Steve did the swinging DDT, and thus the Decay pick up the victory. And that was a very awesome match altogether. Yep. And I'm so happy that we're going to be seeing more of a reunion of Decay, which we're going to get into that in just a moment. Yeah,
I agree. The reunion is something we need. I want Abyss back, but he's, I think, working for WWE still as a producer. So yeah.
Yep, definitely. But we're just gonna settle in with these two for now.
Yes,
so feel a good moment. Alrighty. So next up we have is the 6-man old school rules match between the team of Tommy Dreamer, Rhino, and Cousin Jake versus the team of their official their stable name. Violent by Design consists of Eric Young, Joe Dory, and Diener. Violent by Design. Very catchy name. I like it. Yeah.
I don't think you want to put that on a t-shirt, though. I don't think that anyone's going to be like, hey, actually, no one's like, I'm going to go to the local mall and hang out and do nothing. You're not allowed to do that anymore. But if you were and you're wearing that shirt, I imagine security is going to come for you pretty quick.
Yeah, unless they're just gonna like kind of spread out like whatever crazy design is or anything like that in particular.
Hide the word somewhere. Yes, I did wear a shirt that said "suck it" many times and middle finger from Stone Cold Steve Austin. So
yeah. Anyway, the match itself, it was like pretty much your typical melee match between both teams. They have like a huge animosity towards each other. And I must say, I would give props to Cousin Jake. Well, actually, I should call him Jay because he's no longer a cousin, since, of course, the Dieners are done.
Wait, does he not have other cousins besides the Cody?
Duh. He has another cousin, too. I forgot.
One
of his cousin from a couple months ago. Yeah.
Oh, when they all went up in the woods, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
With Willie Mack, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So many crazy things have happened this year, so it's hard to keep track of them all.
I know, right? Especially we're trying to forget 2020 altogether.
Yes.
Anyway, so I would say props to Cousin Jake. He did a nasty clothesline to Eric Young that sent him flying outside the ring. Even though D'Lo Brown said he did the clothesline from hell. I was like, whoa. He just dropped like a bit of a WWE references of it too. And of course, you saw like the team babyface grabbed their steel chair and each of them took turns to hit Joe Dory, like, one by one. Of course, Joe Dory, a bit of a criticism. I wasn't a fan of his standing crossbody to Tommy Dreamer. It seems like it's kind of like a little bit a hit or miss, but that's just me on it. And then, of course, a lot of like, weapons going off, like tables. You have multiple chairs. Even Joe Dory grabbed the kendo stick, but he just break it up because he doesn't need it for it.
Yeah, that like you bring up a good point about Joe Dory. Like I was like, I'm technically still not sold on him because to me he's Madman Fulton. I love Madman Fulton.
Yeah,
I don't understand what happened with Ace Austin and Madman Fulton after like Slammiversary. I have no clue what happened or what they did, but something changed and no one was interested anymore.
Yeah, it's like something about the whole alliances alike too, or just it's like something how Impact Wrestling is like thrown in together and then like okay, moving on to it.
Like when Joe Doring showed up, so everyone was like, "Oh, I know him." I was like, I don't know who he is. Like someone else might know who he is.
Yeah, I had to do research, and he's like, "Oh, he's from All Japan Pro Wrestling," and I remember he used to be a tag team with Sonata. Prior to Sonata joining Impact Wrestling, like that was like a few years ago before he joined New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Right.
So,
Like, I don't know if Joe Doring is like, honestly, unfortunately, I don't know if he is hey, Impact Wrestling doesn't have a lot of money, so they'll take what they can get. They're like, oh, big dude? Sure, he's got some talent. Let's take him.
or just fighting word too, because we're still in a pandemic, with like
I
the
guess so.
travel restriction stuff. Yeah, so many theories going on alike too. So yeah, and then at the end, of course, after like the whole thumbtag evolve, EY hit cousin Jake with the mask, and then he did the pile driver, and thus Violent by Design did pick up the victory, of course. Pretty good match, Is it memorable? Only like the weapons are the one that's going to be the most memorable of it too.
Yeah,
But then I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a continuing feud going on with one of them. I mean, like
yeah. Well,
cousin
cousin
Jake.
Jake and Cody have to fight.
Exactly. And then, of course, one thing we forgot to mention, Heath. I know he is out in recovery from his injury that happened at Bound for Glory, but, we're expecting to see his return anytime soon, especially just to get the revenge of what EY and Joe did to him. So that's going to be like a continuing like feud between like with Rhino and them. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
the Cody Deaner thing, taking your shirt off, though, was the best decision he ever made in his life.
agree. And also getting a haircut too. He looks
Oh my God! Like I said it before, and I'll say it again. The fact that he cut his hair now, he actually looks good. And I saw it on his Twitter account. He said it. He's like, "Oh, I've been working out all year, but I didn't take selfies of myself every time I went to the gym, so
I
you
saw
didn't
that.
know how cut I got." And now that he looks like this, it's clear as day that Impact Wrestling is the platform now for AEW and for WWE to like, oh my God, these people are good, but we don't want to spend time on them. So Impact Wrestling can do it, just like ECW used to do it, and it's clear as day. Some of these people, like an Ethan Page, they're going places because of Impact Wrestling. So
Exactly.
Joe Doring, Cody Deaner, will we see them somewhere else in 2 years? Probably.
Yeah, something that we'll looking forward to, especially how they're going to be booked properly in Impact Wrestling too. But
Oh my God, Joe Doring, if they booked him right, he could be the best.
of course, definitely. Alrighty, so we're gonna move on to the next match right here. So you have is the finals of the Knockouts Tag Team
Oh yeah.
Tournament for the Knockouts Tag Team Championship match, which of course you have the team of Fire and Flava, which is Kira Hogan and Tasha Steele versus Havoc and Novea. And we have a surprise referee making his return, Brian Hebner. So it looks like Brian Hebner is officially done working with NWA because like ever since when NWA Power did first air, he was the senior referee from according to what I read on Wikipedia. And then now like NWA Power is like shutting down and stuff because of everything that's happened during the pandemic and whatnot. And a lot of the wrestlers that used to wrestle for NWA is now doing different promotions of it too. So Brian Hebner is like the example. So I believe he is definitely back on Impact Wrestling. So this is pretty freaking awesome, to say at
Good for
least.
him.
Yeah. Overall, this match, it was like, wow. I was very impressed with this match altogether. Like both teams, sheesh.
I
They
would say this might be Havoc's best match in the past year or two.
yeah.
Because I don't know, I feel like I'm being negative on the show, but I love Impact Wrestling. But she has not been like giving me what I want out of her. And I don't know if it was just like she didn't have confidence or she didn't feel like her character was who she was. Tonight, I think at least her entrance shows one thing, but in the ring, she seemed like a different person. And I was like, oh my God, they're actually booking her as a powerful person, not just like, hey, I'm somewhat bigger than you. Like, come on, like showcase what you have. And I felt like tonight they did.
Yeah, like I remember when she made her first debut on Impact Wrestling many years ago. And they booked her really strong. And at one point, she was the knockout champion. And then, like,
Yep.
when she made a return, like, she was kind of like lost in the shuffle until Nevaeh made her debut and they did pair up with each other because they did actually was a tag team at the Indies in the past, too.
Okay.
So I figured, like, having Havoc and Nevaeh, they actually brought in, like, more of, like, the confidence boost that, like, they can show what they can do, especially what they did in the Indies, too.
Yeah.
And that brings in a perfect example, like, wow. I was very blown away with this match altogether. Like, Any thoughts about this match?
Oh yeah, well Hogan and Steels have been like how it's so weird that 2020 has given us the opportunity for women to just showcase their skills on the mic and in the ring. And a comparison for me, at least, is Bayley and Sasha Banks. They owned WWE for like the whole year. Same thing for me in 2020. Anytime Steels and Kira Hogan were on TV, I was like, why are they not doing more? Like they have chemistry, they have charisma. Like I don't know, maybe they didn't feel confident in the ring, but their characters got over. They did what they were supposed to do, and they finally did what I wanted them to do. Gave them tag team titles, and now they have something to showcase. Like they were fighting over Hernandez's money for a little while.
Yep.
And to me, I was like, okay, that's cool because you're actually showing their character backstage. These were in the ring segments, like Wrestle House. Like that was something to showcase someone backstage. And I feel like finally we're getting what we wanted. Steels, Kira Hogan, tag team champions. And let's hope they continue on with this division. Because I feel like with AEW involved, you can slip in some knockouts because Rebellion's coming up.
Yep.
The pay-per-view with Kenny Omega's logo on it, the poster.
Oh, yeah.
So that, to me, opens up a whole thing. Rebellion, Kira Hogan, Tasha Steelz, Britt Baker, Big Swole. I don't know. Anybody.
I don't know, a lot. Or maybe Ivelisse and Diamante, too, because they were the...
Trina Deeb, Thunder Rosa. You have so many people.
A lot.
A pregnant Brandy Rhodes can fight.
Yeah, when she can be like, clear to wrestle after she gave birth to her baby and stuff like that, which I cannot wait if it's going to be a boy or a girl. But we digress on that, you guys.
But I love the match. The match. Back to the match. I loved it. I thought it was good. Havoc looked strong. Nevaeh was like the first time that I was like, okay. Like it took me a long time to like Kimberly. Nevaeh is finally coming around on me. And I'm just happy that they didn't win the tag team titles and Hogan and Steelz did.
Yeah, definitely. Like all in all, like they did a really impressive job, especially when Havoc did the Samoan drop to Kira and Tasha after she catch both of them on the top rope. She did
a double choke slam out of the corner.
Yeah, and I was like, "Jeez!" And then
she two people at the same time.
And then Havoc did the brutal suplex to both of them, and then of course, like she was like. Havoc was about to do the swinging DDT, but Kira did escape. And then Kira did the thrust kick to Havoc. And then Tasha did jump in with the jumping net breaker until Nevaeh did, break the pin, during the 2 counts too. Yeah. So all in all, this match was impressive. Kira Hogan with the swinging net breaker, pin Nevaeh, and thus they're the new Knockouts Tag Team Champion. And what's my favorite part is Gail Kim and Madison Rayne presented the very much better Knockouts tag team titles to them. Yes. Man, it's like, I feel to me, this is like the rite of passage of Gail Kim and Madison Rayne. Both of them are the Impact. Well, let's consider Madison Rayne an Impact Wrestling legend, heading into the current champion that would bring it in, like to this modern era of wrestling alike too.
Yeah. I would not compare Madison Rayne to Gail Kim. In Impact Wrestling.
Well, tag team wise.
Oh, tag team wise, sure, whatever. But like, you go back, the Battle Royal at Bound for Glory, and I think it was 2010 when they crowned the first ever Knockouts champion, and Awesome Kong was in there, and ODB and Gail Kim. Like, that was like Taylor Wilde. Like that was the beginning of actually women's wrestling being good. So thank God Gail Kim is ageless too, because I feel like I always want her to come out of retirement. I'm like, oh, just come on. Just one more match.
I know.
She took on Tessa Blanchard. I think at the last Rebellion, maybe. Nah, it couldn't have been. It had to have been 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah, because
so good.
Like Rebellion is where Tessa won the Impact World title against Sam Callahan.
Right. All right. So it's gotta be 2 years ago. It's unbelievable. The Impact Plus app. I don't work for them, but it's so good because it has so many things that nobody knows about, and people are discovering Impact Wrestling now. And I honestly, guys, because of Kenny Omega and AEW's involvement.
Oh, definitely.
So.
Totally. But yeah. So anyway, the match, freaking awesome. Looking forward to what's going to be happening, especially like if we're going to be seeing, like you mentioned, Steve, like, a competition between them against any of the AEW women's division, because I think the women's division in AEW needs a lot of help. I'm just saying.
Yes, imagine an AEW tag team of women beating Steels and Hogan and taking the titles over to AEW.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't know if anyone's listening. Scott Demore, I know you follow me on Twitter. So
yeah. Alrighty, so we're gonna move on to the next one, which it's a segment, in-ring segment. So you have Ace Austin and Madman Fulton coming out. Ace Austin cut a promo saying he won the Super X Cup, holding this basic silver trophy, as I've been criticized on the last episode, of course. He say he wanted a opportunity. Can he insert himself for the triple threat match for the X Division title? And so Scott Demore,
which he should have, by the way. He won a goddamn tournament last week on Saturday.
Exactly. Like, he won the trophy, but he didn't get a title shot. Like, what the hell, man? Like,
that is a pitiful trophy, by the way. Pitiful. Like,
exactly.
I think my bowling trophy from my parents are better and larger than that.
I know, right? I even said on the last episode, like, the Super J Cup trophy from New Japan Pro Wrestling is like way better than that basic trophy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, Scott Demore came out pretty adamant. He did give praise to Ace Austin of his performance at Genesis, but he said he's not gonna grant him a title shot of it too. Instead, he's putting him in a match for a surprise. So here it is. Out comes Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder. I was like, I did not expect it to happen. Okay, to be honest, I was hoping for Matt Cardona to debut at Bound for Glory during that whole gauntlet match.
Yeah.
The Call Your Shot gauntlet match. And, it didn't happen. And look, he is there. Like, holy crap. So the match itself, it was like your typical showcase. I feel it's like a showcasing match for Matt Cardona, how he can handle with Ace Austin.
Yeah.
And of course, at the end, you have Madman Fulton got involved, and the match ends in no contest, of course. And thus, Matt Cardona still continue on to attack not only Madman Fulton, after he kind of countered it, he attacked Ace Austin. I believe he did the Radio Silent, which is formerly known as the Rough Rider. Yeah, finisher in WWE. So yeah, so all in all, I'm really looking forward to what's going to be happening with Matt Cardona. But at the same time, as I mentioned it when we were talking about the pre-show, maybe having him tagging with Brian Myers. But anyway, yes. Steve, what are your thoughts of this and Matt Cardona's debut?
Well, I would say what a slap in the face to Ace Austin, who main evented Slammiversary for the vacated championship belt. They kind of just disappeared, and then got thrusted into the tag team division, disappeared, won the Super X Cup. I'm like, oh my God, finally. Another person that I've been cheering for all year, like, why aren't they doing more? I DM you too. I'm like, why don't they do more with Ace Austin? So here he is, cutting a promo. That's great. And he introduced a new wrestler. And that new wrestler beats Ace Austin. Well, doesn't beat him. It's no contest. But in reality, if this doesn't lead to a storyline involving Ace Austin and formerly Zack Ryder, then what was the point of Ace Austin winning that tournament in the first place?
Yeah, it's like, I get Impact Wrestling is trying to push him as much as he can, but then at the same time, it's like, what is the whole point, especially with the whole point of the tournament itself too?
Yeah, it seemed out of left field anyways, which is fine because they do monthly monthly events on their network, and those are awesome. Those are great. We watched it. It was last Saturday, so I was like, oh crap, I'll watch this. Cool, that's awesome. We made videos, we posted them. It was great, but I'm confused why Ace Austin won a tournament and then wants to be given an X Division Championship match, and Scott Demore was like, I don't really think you deserve one. What do you mean? He won the Super X Cup. He didn't win the X Cup. He won the Super X Cup.
That's right.
Jesus.
Yeah, something. But however, it may be going to be happening that he's going to get some push as needed, because we're going to be talking about the next match.
Okay.
The triple threat match for the X Division Championship match between the champ Manik versus Rohit Raju versus Chris Bay. Now, this may be going to be tying up to what happened afterwards of the X Division match. but then the match itself. So the match itself, it was like your typical X Division match. It was like pretty much a really great match altogether. Honestly, I feel Rohit Raju did actually stood out the most.
He's the best.
Yeah.
MVP of Impact in 2020.
Mm-hmm. With
unexpected. And I did not see that coming when he he was involved with Chris Bay, and Chris Bay was champion, and then he lost it to Rohit because of like a triple threat rules where Rohit was like, oh, whoops, I won. From that point on, I was like, what is going on with this dude? He's got mic skills. He's good in the ring. I love him so much.
Indeed, especially like his signature move and his finisher, let's see, what's the signature move?
He's great in the ring too.
The goodbye from Mumbai. Yeah, that's the running knee is called the goodbye from Mumbai. So I really like his moveset as well. So overall, this match was pretty good. I know Rohit did actually trying to take off Manic's mask, and of course he did. And of course, a face paint. I was like, really?
How is anyone like, wait a minute? Is that TJP? No, it couldn't be. He has face paint on. TJP doesn't have face paint on his face. Like, what?
Yeah.
We all take crazy pills? We taking crazy pills here?
Yeah, and I'm surprised that face paint, I don't know what kind of face paint that he used. It didn't smear it off as much like compared to Crazy Steve and Rosemary's face paint.
Yes. I don't know if you know the story, but Roddy Piper, WrestleMania 6, painted his body half black to fight Bad News Brown. And the story goes, he had special solution to get it off because he didn't want it to peel off during the match. Well, Andre the Giant dumped out that solution. So when Piper tried to clean himself, it was just water inside of a container. That is what Manic's probably using. He is going to be walking through the world for the next 5 weeks with his face painted like the guy from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Teddi Turnbuckle's saw the tweet of it too. I was like laughing a bit too. But yeah, so of course Manic did actually like finish the rest of the match without his mask with the pretty impressive face paint that is still sticking it through. Yeah, but all in all, this match was pretty dope as hell. Chris Bay with the cutter to counter TJP. I'm gonna say TJP because
No, I'm sorry. No, that's Manic.
Okay, that's Manic. Mumba.
That's
Mumba
not
Slam.
That's not TJP. Let's just get it straight, all right? I want to make sure the record's shown.
Exactly. Okay, so Chris Bay did counter with the Manic's Mumba Splash with the cutter, and then he did the Art of Finesse for a 2 count, of course, and then Manic with the Crucifix Bomb for a 2 count. Of course, Rohit Raju did the goodbye from Mumbai for a 2 count, but then Chris Bay did kicked out of it. And then, of course, right towards the end, Rohit did a 3rd goodbye from Mumbai to Chris Bay, but then Manic with the roll-up, and thus he retained the X Division title. Yeah, I was even I'm not happy about the result of it because I personally picked Chris Bay to win because, like, I feel like he should, like, be the 2-time X Division champion, especially having like a lengthy title run because he did lost to Rohit Raju.
Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier, I said I was like, oh, that was so surprising when that happened because I was like, it's clearly Chris Bay is on to doing something, and then Rohit won. I was like, what did Chris Bay do? Does he know what the skeletons are? Are you trying to punish him? Like, what did he do wrong? Because I agree with you. Like, Rohit surprised me last year when he won the title and had a great run. Like, he was entertaining. Manic, I don't really care about him at all. Dashing Chris Bay, dude, charisma at the wazoo. A month ago, he was in the world title match against Rich Swann. And it's like, I don't know what happens, but like, I don't want to keep comparing it, but like WWE will hit you over the head and remind you about this one match forever, for 20 years to tell you how great it is. It happened a month ago. Exactly. No one was like, Chris Bay almost won the Inner Impact Championship 1 month ago.
Yeah.
Hello? Like, he wasn't in a regular dinky match. He was in the freaking main event, and it was like 30 minutes of non-stop action, and yet they're like, well, Manic with no mask and his face paint just won the match. That's great.
Of course, yeah.
Like, without fans, you're not selling much. Like, it's not like if Manic was coming down and there was kids in the crowd, it'd be like, oh my god, look, he's wearing a mask. Oh, it's so cute. But he's not. There's no audience.
I know.
This gimmick is made for a fan of 8-year-old stature.
Exactly. And you remember about like, the origin of Manic, because at the time years ago of Impact Wrestling, the character Suicide, until Hulk Hogan, which he was kind of like the Impact Wrestling general manager at the time, stated like, oh, because they were going PC and stuff like that and didn't want to promote suicide and depression, stuff like that related to that, they had to change the Suicide character to Manic. And it's like, this is so dumb.
Do you remember why they made Suicide?
I kind of don't remember. It's been so long.
They were coming out with the Impact Wrestling video game, and they wanted to have some original character you could play as to go through the story mode. And Suicide was the character in that video game. So that's why he was even created as a wrestler in the first place, because they wanted to sell video games. And as Christopher Daniels was the first ever Suicide, because they thought Christopher Daniels didn't have any talent as the Fallen Angel gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, excuse me, not they. Hulk Hogan.
Exactly. Like, it doesn't make sense.
You kidding me?
Yeah. And now, like, Suicide is still part of the main roster of Impact Wrestling.
They just bring him in when they need something to lose.
Of course. But yeah, so anyway, as we both mentioned about the whole Ace Austin situation, I think this is going to be it. That Manic's next challenge is definitely going to have to be Ace Austin. I mean,
well, I sure hope so, because it'd be stupid if he didn't get a title shot. I don't want it on Impact. I want it on a pay-per-view, or I want it next month at whatever monthly special event they're going to do in February.
Exactly. I mean, I'm for it. Hopefully they better book it right, especially when it comes to Ace Austin too.
And Manic better lose.
Exactly. Anyway, so we're going to be moving on to the next match, which is the Knockouts Championship match, which you have the champ, Deonna Purrazzo, with Kimberly and Susan, versus Taya Valkyrie with the Decay.
Yes.
So the match itself, it started out pretty slow between Deonna and Taya until, like, outside of the ring, everybody got involved except for Susan pulling up a ultimate Karen move by recording. And if you guys saw it on Susan's Twitter page, of course, yes, she did pull an ultimate Karen, of course. She said, I need to talk to the manager. I was like, oh God, yeah, I've been watching so many Karen compilation video on YouTube, and oh my God, that is like a perfect example. I knew it, like, when I did the reaction on your channel, Steve, like, I say, oh my God, Susan is becoming a Karen, and I was right all along. But yeah,
that video's climbing the charts. It's climbing the charts. I am a little upset. As you know, I'm a huge Su Yung fan, and I was gritting my teeth during the Susie run. I was like, okay, randomly Su Yung pops out like Wrestle House when she pretty much murdered people in a room and then came out with a bloody hand, which was just the best thing ever. But Deonna Purrazzo, my God, she found a place for her, and this place is Impact Wrestling, and it is giving her everything she wants. She beat Jordan Grace a couple times. Now she's beating, I guess, now I would call a legend, but definitely a staple in the past 5 years of Impact Wrestling, Taya Valkyrie. So she beats her.
Definitely.
She beats her.
And that was the perfect example for this match. Well, after everybody got injected from ringside, it's just Deonna and Taya. Very beautiful, this match altogether, especially with the interaction going on. And also, I forgot to mention D'Lo Brown during commentary. He actually called out Susan. Okay, Karen, you can stop recording. And I was dying of laughter. I was like, well, it's been confirmed now, and Susan is the Karen of Impact. Anyway, back to the match itself. So I was very impressed with, like, the different movesets too. Like, you have Taya Valkyrie. She is her in-ring style is more of a brawler, but with more lucha, because she's been trained in Mexico for so many years when she first started out. And then Deonna Purrazzo being like a technical wizard that she is, or a kind of like a genius, like I said. So anyway, like, Deonna with a couple stomps to Taya's arm multiple times, and then she actually did the knee bar submission to Taya until like Taya broke away. She actually did the modified curb stop and then the modified STF submission to Deonna Purrazzo. So it's like more of like, I think you could say it's like more of like a technical aspect during this match itself. It was like pretty like beautiful.
What about Disco Kimberly? I love her so much.
I know, right?
I gave her so much crap for that name because, come on, like it's like just incredible. Like when you name yourself one name but figure out how to make it two. At first, I was like, you have got to be joking me. Like Nevaeh, heaven spelled backwards, a relic, killer spelled backwards. Impact Wrestling. My friends, anytime I mention I'm watching Impact, that's the joke. They're like, oh, does relic still work there? And I'm like, oh no. But I think Kimberly being part of this Deonna, this faction she's growing with Susan, it just gives her so much power because now you have lackeys. When you have lackeys, that means something's going right for you.
Exactly.
Like Seth Rollins, J&J Security, you have AEW, Jericho in the Inner Circle, Eddie Kingston, the family. Like it just goes on and on and on. When you have lackeys and you're the leader, it always works out for you. And who the hell is gonna beat her? Who? Only way I can see it happening is Kimberly and Deonna somehow like break up, and then that's the match. Because if someone beats Deonna Purrazzo, it's not needed. Like that'd be the dumbest thing ever. Like unless Susan turns into Su Yung again, that's it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what
I love the match though. I did love the match. I just want to say I love the match.
Yeah, it's said so perfectly well said, especially with Deonna Purrazzo with the Venus de Malo to Taya and then retain the title. And like I said, like you said, Deonna Purrazzo has a faction that she's already created. Yeah. And speaking of which, tag team wise, Susan and Kimberly, of course. I mean, enough said. Dude, I mean, why not? And have like both ladies holding the Knockouts tag team title possibly next. But I know that Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, they need to find like who is going to be the noteworthy of a contender, who will be the tag team that's going to be having.
They they have to obviously beat their first challengers. They can't lose in the first run because titles look so lame.
Yeah, and that'll be like a total waste too.
Like I think Eric Young is a former Knockouts tag team champion.
Oh yeah, past life.
So yeah. But I'm really happy. I don't know if Tay is done. Valkyrie, she's joined her husband John Morrison. I don't know.
There has been a report about like her contract is about to expire for Impact Wrestling, and like she has re-signed a new contract or nothing or anything like that. There's like so many conflicted report going on with Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah.
But we'll see what's going on with that. And like I said, you guys, Bulletcast Nation, I'll make sure to first report if there's any update regarding Taya Valkyrie's status with Impact Wrestling. But all in all, this match, very beautiful altogether.
Yeah, nothing bad so far on this broadcast.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And next up, you have is the cinematic match. The cheesiest cinematic match ever seen, with all due respect to Ethan Page. Ethan Page versus the Karate Man. What in the flying hell did I just watch, Steve? Like, serious production value and stuff. Everything is created by Ethan Page because, he has a YouTube channel, Ethan Page played by Julian, with, like, questionable storyline. I thought Impact Wrestling can do better by helping Ethan Page, but I feel like this is, like, all Ethan Page's work. Oh, my God.
I'm happy with it. I was happy with it. I like
so bad.
Anything that is different from the norm. Impact seems to strive to hit those. And we've seen it. Wrestle House, Johnny Bravo, who shot him, the Undead Realm, the Matt Hardy, the compound matches. When they have nothing, they come up with something. And Ethan Page probably gave an idea, and they were like, that sounds good. How much will it cost? He's like, $5. And they're like, okay, here's 10. Because the cinematic match, on a green screen, to me, is hilarious. Because I have watched, thankfully, because of Fight TV giving me a code, but I have watched those Good Brother pay-per-views.
Oh, yeah, the Talking Shop Mania. I watched one Talking Shop Mania. I really love it. I didn't watch the second one because, like, number one, I need to have alcohol, but number two, I was I was working the graveyard shift at the time before going back to working morning. So
Yeah, I think it was on Friday the 13th. I forget what month it was.
yeah.
The second one at least. But like I watched them both, and I was like, man, the first one I was like, this. Me and my buddies recorded ourselves when we were kids wrestling as The Rock in Austin in my backyard was better than that crap. The second one had like bombs and had like bazookas. So when I saw Karate Man versus Ethan Page, I was already prepared. I was already there for someone ripping someone's heart out and doing the kick from Mortal Kombat 2.
Oh
I
yeah.
was set.
It was crazy. So yes, the Karate Man did kill Ethan Page with a fatality, taking his heart away. Oh my god. And then that's probably it for Ethan Page since he's
Yeah.
officially now a free agent. And I know for a fact that like there's a lot of like some reports about Ethan Page possibly going to be going to AEW or WWE, which is not confirmed or not denied yet until like things may be changing. Probably will be happening within days to come to see what's going on with Ethan Page since he's no longer with Impact Wrestling. So I think it's like the fact that this is one cheesy cinematic match ever, and it's short. Thank God, because we
Yes.
got like
Thank
two
God.
matches. It's like it's gonna be blowing everybody's balls to the walls. You guys, like, wow. So all in all, pretty cheesy. I would say I take
Yeah.
that. Make me feel like I take that whole back about the whole Moose versus EC3 cinematic match they had. So
That was an interesting one as well.
yeah.
They had Eddie Edwards versus Ace Austin in a side of like a gym bar. If you remember
Mm-hmm.
that one, right before Slammiversary, that was a little bizarre.
Exactly.
Well, I would say one thing: if you Google Ethan Page 2 years ago and look at him now, what an improvement! That guy he went from, I don't know how much he weighed before, but we'll throw out a strange number, 300 pounds. He
He
was
was a very
big.
heavy set when I actually met him in person when I got into independent wrestling back in 2017.
So is that 2017? That's 3-4 years ago. So now you look at him and you're like, holy crap. Like he's been working out nonstop, doing the best he can. He was in Impact Wrestling, and now he's going to move up. And that's good for
Exactly.
him. And that's good for his family. That's good for his wallet. That's good for wrestling to show that if you go to Impact Wrestling and you work hard, someone might look at you and go, hey, maybe Impact wants to offer you more money, which I think they should have. He could have been world champion.
Exactly.
They have that's the one thing I love Impact Wrestling, but their tiers are all over the place. Tag teams, great. Exhibition wrestlers, they're kind of lacking. Women, they have so many.
Tag teams.
But main event wrestlers, holy moly, are they lacking? Like nothing against Chris Bay, but did in the scheme of like who's on what tier, he wasn't on world title tier last month. But I love him so much that he had a great match.
Exactly.
Moose, same thing. Ethan Page, he could have been your main dude. You see him in a poster?
Yeah. I mean, I know it's pretty sad, like, he's now no longer with Impact Wrestling, but hopefully he'll find something like successful.
Oh my God, wherever he goes, which I hope is not WWE. I hope he goes somewhere else. Because if he goes somewhere else, he can be himself.
Exactly.
If he goes to WWE, he'll be like Arthur Note. That'll be his name. Arthur Note.
Yeah.
No thanks. Let's move on to the next match.
Exactly. The next match that, instead of the cringy, like, cinematic match, we're going to go to that match that my favorite style of wrestling. For those of you who know me, I like a hardcore match, death match. I love it as long as it's not like too severe. Just want to make it clear, you guys. That is right. The barbed wire massacre match between Sami Callihan versus Eddie Edwards. And that's the match that Teddi Turnbuckle got sick and throw up. Yeah, it's all the video. Yeah.
He was quite sick and he's still recovering. It's okay, buddy. It's all right. He's down there. He's feel well. But when you hear they're gonna have a barbed wire massacre match, I go back to the first one with Abyss and Sabu. And that one was so strange because actually, no, the next one would be so strange because it was Abyss versus Judas Masayas. And they couldn't even air it live on the pay-per-view because the second time around, they were so nervous about what was going to happen because the Sabu one versus Abyss is nuts. Like
Oh,
Sabu
yeah.
gets stuck in it. And if you even watch ECW back in 1995, there's a match with Sandman and Sabu, and Terry Funk is involved too. They gotta cut people out of barbed wire.
Yeah. And
So those matches are crazy. But I'll tell you what, wrapping a Nintendo 64 controller with barbed wire and hitting someone in the face with it, you've crossed the line, mister.
exactly. I was so shocked, like, with the whole like setup they have in the ring. Like you have this like the cage fence covered with like barbed wires, and then you have like some like this guillotine chain hanging with like different weapons they have, especially that N64 controller. I was like, oh my god, are you serious? And of course, you have is the barbed wire boards, barbed wire chairs. Like it was so insane. I love it so much. And of course, you have Sami Callihan coming out with a new theme song, which I like his old theme song better, but that's just me. But yeah.
I miss his stable. That's what I miss. I miss his stable.
Oh, I missed the theme song too.
Madman Fulton.
Yep.
He was champion. There's a hilarious celebration segment with those guys, and it's awesome.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
In the parking lot.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, that match, holy crap. This match went into the whole caliber. I was so focused on this. I was loving every minute of it too, because I think it's just with me, because like I'm like more used to like death matches and hardcore matches, especially I did actually seen it live at like past independent wrestling shows. It actually kind of, I don't know what it is. I was so enjoying it so much. So you have Eddie Edwards wrapping the barbed wire around Sammy's forehead. And of course, Sammy with the cactus board landing at Eddie Edwards, covered by this whole barbed wire board. And of course, the N64 controller that Sami Callihan did hit it through Eddie Edwards' face.
That crossed the line.
Yeah, like, jeez. And of course, Sammy threw Eddie into the barbed wire rope in the middle, like the middle rope. I was like, that's gotta be painful for it. But it was starting to get into like a whole bloody massacre of it altogether.
I think those two, though, Sami Callihan and Eddie Edwards, are perfect for each other, because Sami Callihan wants you to believe what he's doing is real. He wants you to believe everything he's saying and doing. He's a real character. He's not Sami Callihan's a real person. Like, he wants you to believe that. Eddie Edwards is like beyond dedicated to Impact Wrestling, and he's beyond dedicated to the craft of wrestling. So when these two get in the ring, someone is going to do something crazy, because they both want you to believe what they're doing is real. And what I saw tonight, you take a top rope splash through a table in the ring covered in barbed wire, you're like, well, you definitely have earned my respect.
Exactly. And what I really like about during this match is Eddie Edwards actually paid a tribute to some of the legends in wrestling. Like he did the thunder bomb to Sammy that landed on the Barbara steel chair for a 2 count, which hit the thunder bomb. Signature move is inspired by Jun Akiyama, of course. Thank you, Max Striker, for giving a bit of the information.
Good old Max Striker.
That's right. And I know, like, after, like, with the insane exchange, like, with the kendo stick cover, like, barbed wire, and, of course, the baseball bat cover, bar hitting it, and then all this craziness, Eddie Edwards did the Boston Knee Party to the chair where Sammy was landed for a 1 count. But then the finisher, he did the Emerald Explosion, which is a tribute to the late Masawa. And of course, he actually won the Barbara Massacre match. And that was a freaking one hell of a fight altogether. Like, wow.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I love Sami Callihan. He doesn't get enough credit.
Definitely.
He's the reason that What Culture Wrestling started covering Impact Wrestling. They wouldn't, they do thumbs up, thumbs down, and they do Raw, SmackDown, AEW, NXT, and Sami Callihan, he harassed Simon Miller, the host of that show, and until they actually were going to have a match, because Simon Miller was also a wrestler, that they were going to do that, but of course, pandemic, whatever happened. But that really, it was like a year ago, he harassed them, and they did an ups and downs on Impact, and since Kenny Omega showed up, they've been doing ups and downs for Impact Wrestling. So I give all credit Sami Callihan. If you're not watching Access TV, if you're not watching on Twitch, it got ups and downs telling you what's going on too. And I got to give props to Sami Callihan for having a crazy match and for getting What Culture Wrestling to even acknowledge their existence.
Exactly, too. Especially with this match, it was like one of the best match of the night, but not like the main best match of the night, but one of them altogether. Yeah. Especially with this compelling storyline that has been going on for quite a while, and I feel that with Sami picking up the victory, Eddie Edwards. Botch, I know, I'm normally that, but anyway, Eddie Edwards defeated Sami Callihan. Especially, this is probably going to be the end of their years-long feud.
I don't know. Unless Sami Callihan suddenly has a girlfriend, then it can be him and his girlfriend versus Eddie Edwards and Mrs. Edwards. So we'll have to see how that goes on. I don't know. That's the only way I can see it going. Return of Tessa Blanchard, team up with Sami Callihan. Do it now, Tessa.
Yeah, but Tessa,
that won't probably happen. No.
Well, Philip wants Tessa to be black on the back, but I was like, no. Anyway, so yeah, all in all, I was very blown away with this match.
Thumbs up,
Sami Callihan. Yep. Oh,
it was a thumbs up.
Love it, every minute of it too. Anyway, so right before the main event match, they actually announced the next pay-per-view, which is going to be taking place on April 24th, 2021. The returning Impact Wrestling Rebellion. That is right. Supposedly, Rebellion's supposed to be having a pay-per-view last year, but of course, pandemic hit. Yep. And so they had to do like a TV special. But hey, it's now back for the next pay-per-view, which honestly got me wondering like what's going to be happening within the long run. But of course, we're going to get into the main event of it right now of it too. So the main event match you have is the team of Rich Swann, Chris Sabian, and Moose versus the team of the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega. I was marking out. Carl Anderson was wearing the Bullet Club hoodie. Doc Gallows was having the Bullet Club ring gear. Kenny Omega was wearing a Bullet Club.
I know. That to me is crazy because that clear as day shows you New Japan is involved with this AEW Impact Wrestling storyline. Clear as day. Because if you know anything about copyright laws or anything about using, that's why if you watch something in someone like a blurred out soda in someone's hand on The Bachelor, it's because they're drinking a Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola didn't allow them to have that brand on their television without their permission.
Or that yellow hairspray.
Huh?
Or that yellow hairspray. Like you saw that they did cover the label.
Oh, of course. Cover the label. So with Impact Wrestling and AEW now involved, Bullet Club shirts, Bullet Club is not owned by a wrestler. New Japan Wrestling owns the name, the term, the logos, Bullet Club. It was revealed recently on a video podcast with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. They said they were about to copyright it. They decided not to. Then 2 weeks later, New Japan did it. So, they missed out on all that Bullet Club money t-shirt. But having that involved, you have to think. Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega. There's a lot going on. And that's involved the Bullet Club. That involves New Japan. That involves dream-making fantasy matches. And having one like this tonight, I can't wait to see Hard to Kill's buy rates because Kenny Omega was on the damn show. And every time it's been an Impact, the ratings have gone up.
I know, right? And especially the fact that tweets, too. Like, they were, the Hard to Kill pay-per-view was trending number 5 on the U.S. trending on Twitter, too. So that said something a lot. I'm thinking about people like only tweet out just the main event match too. So yeah, it was pretty much very impressive. So your thoughts of this match altogether, Steve?
Well, Moose was someone I did not want to see in this match. And then once he was and then Kenny Omega and Good Brothers had a segment earlier in the night talking about how like Kenny didn't like the fact that Moose was in the match. And I'm looking at Gallows, I'm like, dude, it would have been all these nothing against Saban and Shelley and Swan. They're very short. Gallows is gigantic. How are you going to take him down? Like 3 people versus 1? That's stupid. It's a 3-on-3 match. So having Moose there as the powerhouse, as the muscle of the group, I'm all for it. I don't want a heel Moose anymore. I want a proud Moose just beating the crap out of anybody. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad. I want him to be exactly the same, but fighting good guys and bad guys. After tonight,
Yep.
like if you don't watch any more of Kenny Omega after this and you continue watching Impact, Moose is definitely up there right now.
Exactly. Especially like, with this whole control your narrative situation. I know that he said about like the pain situation aside and just, beat the crap out of like the Elite itself together.
Yeah.
And I'm very impressed with Moose doing the standing moonsault.
He did a friggin' I guess Kaz used to call it the flux capacitor off the top rope with Kenny Omega, the backflip into like pretty much a face plant. And Venus, I can't think of the name of it right now off the top of my head, but it was unbelievable. Like I was like, oh my God, Moose is gonna pin Kenny Omega.
Yeah, until it's like a kick out for 2. So
well, of course, you have to always kick out at 2. It doesn't make.
And remember, Kenny did a Spanish fly C4 to Moose on the top of the ring post.
Yeah.
Like, jeez.
Kenny Omega right now is firing on all cylinders. If you're not watching him week by week and you're just popping in and out, you're missing out. Because if you go back to him beating Moxley and that Don Callis segment and leading into him showing up on Impact that following Tuesday, you are missing out. Because every week on AEW and Impact, he's bringing his best. He's bringing his game. This is going to be the best year of Kenny Omega's career. After this, he'll be a huge star and all that stuff. But the build he's on right now is something that it only happens every so often. Stone Cold Steve Austin did it in 97. And it only happens every so often. And it's happened with Kenny Omega. And people, and honest to God, with me, I've been a WWE fan since I was a little boy. So growing up, now introduced to AEW and New Japan and Impact Wrestling, this isn't me being like, Kenny Omega's the best thing ever. No, it's me coming into Kenny Omega realizing he is slowly becoming the best thing ever in my eyes.
Oh, indeed, too. And especially like how Kenny Omega, he actually brings back, the cleaner gimmick he has.
Yeah.
Especially have Don Callis by his side. He actually doing impressed, like he's doing it much better like he is like back in the day, especially bringing his old gimmick back too. His old like styles.
Like if you watch that first Impact after he won the World Championship, if you were on Twitch, which I was because I wanted to see the numbers, I'm on Twitch usually watching Impact. 2,000, 5,000 people maybe watching.
Yep.
Maybe. The night Kenny Omega, after he won the championship, announced he was going to be on Impact, it was at 50. It was at 60,000. And then out of nowhere, Access Television started using Nielsen television ratings again because they weren't, because you couldn't find Impact Wrestling ratings. So now they're involved with Nielsen ratings. So now Impact is suddenly on the map. You can see their ratings week by week, and they're growing. And it's not just the demos, everything is going up right now for Impact. So Kenny Omega's involvement, if no one wants to believe it, that's fine. But the numbers tell the truth, and something's going on, and he's doing it.
Exactly, Kenny Omega, and also you have that commercial from Tony Khan.
Oh my God, those are great.
Yeah, which I'm surprised Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone didn't cut a commercial during the pay-per-view, but it is what it is. I was hoping
that would have been funny.
Some surprise from AEW, but it didn't happen. Anyway, so yeah, the match was really insane. Everybody was beating the crap out of each other. I really like the fact that Rich Swann and Moose did the modified Doomsday device to Kenny for a 2 count.
Yeah, that was
cool.
And
then Rich did the Phoenix Splash until, of course, Kenny kicked out by a 2 count. So there's like so many like cohesive connection going on with both teams. And especially like making sure like Team Babyface are trying to beat the holy hell out of, let's just say, the Elite or whatever. But anyway, at the end, Kenny Omega did the V trigger to Moose, then a V trigger to Rich Swann, followed by the One Wing Angel, and thus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers win the main event match, you guys. And yeah, and pretty much afterwards, nothing happens.
I was waiting for something. I was like, where are the Young Bucks? They're pissed about what happened on AEW. But nothing.
Yeah, remember, I was hoping for the Young Bucks to show up and see what's going on. Or even some people are expecting John Moxley or even the Lucha Brothers, because the Lucha Brother used to be in Impact Wrestling, and so is the Young Bucks, but in a different name.
I think Pentagon Jr. is a former Impact World Champion.
Yep.
Ray
So,
Phoenix, involved as well. So, but it was a crazy night. It was a crazy. It was
mhm,
awesome. Like I was all in on this event, all in. But
yeah.
top to bottom, every match was good. There
Oh
and
yeah.
and every match had some sort of story.
Mm-hmm.
The Ace Austin one really kind of makes me a little angry. But I was here for the Kenny Omega moment, and then the card underneath it delivered the fake crowd noise, D'Lo Brown,
Mm-hmm.
Matt Striker. Those little elements have made anyone who watched tonight realize that they can watch on Tuesday because the fake crowd noise and the new commentary
Yes.
leveled up.
And I just hope they better continue on with the fake crown. The thing of it is, I love the the sound of the fake crown, like in a monotone instead of like the thundertone, which is like loud as hell. And it's
Yeah.
like, that's weird. Like, no.
Yes, I have been in the Thunderdome before, and there's a guy who randomly talks to you, and they're like, "All right, now, boo Randy Orton," and everyone. And then,
Yeah,
so if you were watching, everyone's doing this. It's because they're being told to do it.
of course. Yeah, it's weird. But yeah, so all in all, like my thoughts of this pay-per-view, way better than Bound for Glory.
Oh
Better
my
way to kick
god!
off 2021 in Impact Wrestling. They did and a very impressive job altogether. The only
Yeah.
match that I was kind of like, is the cinematic match between Ethan Page and the Karate Man. But from top to bottom, including the pre-show match, it was really superb, and Impact Wrestling did deliver it all together. And I'm curious to know that, like, the whole Kenny Omega and the Good Brother situation, probably it's going to be a build up towards AEW Revolution because the AEW pay per view is 1 month away.
Oh, and then you got Rebellion in April.
Yeah.
Oh man, these two connections should be definitely clued
Mhm.
in. I hope to God there's more than one match involving both shows because that could be awesome.
Indeed. So anyway, so to close it off with the recap, we normally do letter grades. So
Ah,
Steve, what's your letter grade for Hard to Kill?
oh man, you compared Hard to Kill to Bound for Glory. I did the same exact thing, and I'm gonna go. I'll go with a B. I'll go with like even a B plus because, like I said, the crowd noise helped immensely, like beyond what's been going on. I know there's a pandemic and it's worse and COVID and it's awful. It sucks. I agree. But not having an audience, but then AEW has like a random audience with the wrestlers and then some people in the audience, like 100 people. WWE's got this giant Thunderdome because they have the money. Impact Wrestling does not have the money. So
Mhm.
at least finally someone sat them down and was like, what are you doing? Because I'll bring it up. You probably watched it too. The night Kenny Omega won the championship in AEW, he showed up on Impact. If you're on Twitch, you can
Yep.
see the chat. And the chat, anything it said was Josh Matthews is terrible at his job. That's all
Oh
I kept seeing.
yeah.
People scrolling. And I was like, why? You have so many people watching you right now. You have Josh Matthews? Like D'Lo Brown and Matt Striker should have started that night because they were so good. So letter grade, B plus.
Awesome. I'm actually going to be giving it a B plus as well. The fact that like every match was really superb, even though like the only match I wish it would not be in the main card, but should bump up a little bit, maybe to the opening of the match or even a pre-show would be the cinematic match itself too. The outcome of the X Division title match, I was even happy about that. The only thing that really saves a lot is like the most of the matches, like the Knockouts Tag Team title match, Matt Cardona's debut to
Yeah.
the Knockouts Championship match, Barbed Wire Massacre match, and the main event match. It actually really saved the show altogether. And it didn't leave me any disappointment at all. So that's why I'm giving it a B plus. And I hope with Impact Wrestling, I know they're going to be continuing on since they already made some couple changes going on for this year. I'm hoping that like they're going to continue on, especially drawing up to the new audience.
Hey, I hope to God that, someday we can all get vaccinated and we can get back to fans being in the arena because Impact Wrestling right now is firing on all cylinders and having no audience to see it really sucks. And I'm just like Kenny Omega being there, the Good Brothers showing up on AEW, the audience was going crazy. When Kenny Omega shows up on Impact Wrestling, there was nothing. It was just silence. Like, oh, he's in a bus. But now with a fake audience and new commentary, oh my God, I'm so happy.
It's like
I'm
a
so
breath
happy.
of fresh air, and it feels like we're watching actual wrestling shows.
Yes, and I've been watching Impact, and I was like, oh God, this is
Yeah,
hard with no crowd.
indeed. Alrighty, guys. So with that being said, that is it for Into the Stratusphere, episode 23, the Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill recap. So anyway, you guys, before we go, we're just going to give plugs. So Steve, where can they find you and Teddy?
Well, of course, like I mentioned earlier, Teddi Turnbuckle, Teddy with an I on Twitter because somebody, I'm pointing at you, Teddy with a Y, stole it. So it's Teddy with an I. It was going to be Teddy with a Y, but someone already has that name for some strange reason. So, and of course, I'm on YouTube, Teddi Turnbuckle, Teddy with an I, and I am supplying daily reaction videos every single day. So please check out me with a puppet on my hand talking about wrestling.
All righty. Anyway, thank you so much, Steve, for being my guest, especially talking about like Impact Wrestling altogether. I'm forever grateful. And I want to say thank you for having me on your channel as well, helping you like doing the reaction video. I had so much fun making this reaction video, especially doing it live while watching the pay-per-view, especially showing yours truly the raw emotion reaction of it, y'all, in less than 30 seconds.
Yep, rocking that hair too. Killer.
Thank you. So anyway, you guys, so to find me, you guys can follow me on Twitter and on my personal Instagram page at simply_C_OK. That's SIMPLY_C_OK. And you guys can follow my podcast, Adventures in Wrestling Podcast. Follow on the Instagram page at adventure_in_wrestling_podcast, all lowercase, where I posted like any updates regarding new episode, also pictures of like past wrestling show within the episode. Also, make sure to follow the Adventures in Wrestling podcast on YouTube at Adventures in Wrestling by Cindy G. Also, the Adventures in Wrestling Storytelling Edition on all podcasting platforms. Anchor FM, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Breaker, and Google Podcast. That's right. And of course, there's going to be a new episode of the Adventures in Wrestling podcast coming up within a couple days before Royal Rumble, you guys, as a teaser. And do not forget, you guys, Bulletcast Nation, follow the Bulletcast on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Also, subscribe to this YouTube channel at the Bulletcast, you guys. Like this video, comment. I'm more than happy to interact with you guys. Share this video, of course. And also, if you guys are listening to it in audio forms, make sure to follow the Bulletcast in all podcasting platform at the Bulletcast, you guys. And with that being said, just please remember to wash your hands 20 to 30 seconds. Practice social distancing. Wear your face mask or any face covering at all time. No excuses because we're still in a pandemic and it's not over yet. And just remember, please be kind to one another. We're all in this together. With that being said, this is your girl Cindy G and Steve the Fan. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Cheers, y'all.